Good morning, everybody. We are going to be working on a ukulele stuff today. You're going to get the sheet music and this weekly schedule from jollyrogerukulele.com. I'm going to go there right now and post the link on our page. Today we are working on, yesterday we worked on scales just in general, and today we're going to talk about why we talk about scales before we talk about keys. And today we're going to be in the key of C, and we're going to be playing my all-time favorite key of C song, Waltzing Matilda, along with a bunch of other stuff. And let's make sure that this is all working together properly. There, that opens up. And then there's this. Dun, dun, dun. Scroll down. And Tuesday, there's the link. It opens up to lesson 11, and I wrote lesson 12. Are we on lesson 11 or lesson 12? We're lesson 12. Oops, goof that up. All right, so lesson 12. Let's tweet it real quick. https://jollyrogerukulele.com. Post that up. And we're on lesson 12, not lesson 11. So let me go fix that while everybody is getting loaded in. Foundations, lesson 12. Hey, tweet. All right, so there's that. So now we've tweeted, and I still have the ability to fix this in real time, I found out. So we're not lesson 11, we are lesson 12. Alright, now I can save that, and that should fix everything. Sandy's in. Good morning. Listening while I wait for my baritone. I know. Oh, your baritone's on its way. That's exciting. Getting your strings changed, Sandy? I forgot. Remind me of what's up. Hey, Jan, welcome in. In from Lakewood. Dog is getting used to the tuning. Her poor dog hates ukulele. Or, well, at least he likes to sing along. That's what some people say, is that, yeah, my dog's singing along. And that's another way to think of it. Good morning, Michelle, in from Rockaway Beach, Oregon. It's sunny up there. Here in Denver, we're a little bit, it's a sunny day out. It's kind of overcast a little. I don't know, it's just kind of murky skies out there. But I think it's about 70-ish or something out there. Let's find out. I was up on the roof a little while ago. We're getting a new roof, and I'm the president of the association, so I have to go stand around and look serious while they tell us what they're going to do. It's actually only 55 out. Huh? I thought it was warmer than that. Linda's in from G'day. She's ready. She's really ready for Waltzing Matilda. Hey, Linda. We are working on I don't know what I was about to say. You know how when you get a certain age, it's like, sent you email. Oh, you sent me email. Sandy sent me email. Oh, you sent me an email? Did I respond to it? Have I read it yet, Sandy? I mean, look, I am so far behind on email. Oh, that's right. We did talk about that. I'm sorry, Sandy. Didn't we? Did we talk about? Oh gosh, my brain. I can't keep up, Sandy. I apologize. In any event, I'm delighted. Rob, 73 and sunny down there in beautiful Texarkana. All right, guys. So we're going to have today is a lovely day because after this is our 12th lesson, theoretically, right? The first 8 are all in one. But we finally have enough instrumental background to approach what most people get is their day one lesson with some wisdom about it, and it's going to be much easier now that you kind of understand the more or less the basic idea that we're trying to get toward, and then it makes this lesson so much easier, and you'll be so much more successful theoretically, right? So if you are tuned up, we'll go through that. We play together today. So if you have a baritone, Linda says snow tonight. We're getting snow tonight? Oh man, I thought we were done with that. We were never done with snow until the middle of May, actually, in Denver. So, yeah, there's always snow in May. It seems like always, but just a little bit. Not too bad. All right, let's talk about today. The baritone players and the ukulele players, we play together, and so you'll notice on the website when you went to click on today's assignment, it says baritone ensemble PDF. That means when it's an ensemble that it's meant to be played with the ukulele players. It's the same thing as the little booklet that we use. This is where's my copy. When we talk about playing music together, your first thought probably as a newer musician is, well, I'm not ready to play with other people. I can't even play myself yet. And that's absolutely how I thought forever until I started teaching music. And then I realized that, let me see if this hooked up. I realized that it's not your skill level that matters when you're playing together. It's the group experience, the setting up of the timing. You get so much better, so much faster when you play with other people. And that's why everything that I do pretty much is designed around this notion of, hey, I'm going to teach you how to be a soloist, but I'm also going to teach you how to play in an ensemble so that no matter what situation shows up, you can do it. And so with this little booklet, you know how we played A, F, D, and E7, and ukulele players have pretty easy chord shapes, and baritones, you had a lot more difficult chord shapes, right? Your E7 is easier than theirs, but other than that, your chord shapes are a little tougher. But we can all play together in the same key. So when we were working out of this book, it's the key of A. Now that you have that background, it's really easy to think, okay, so that set of chords goes with we're going to use those sets, that set of chords goes together. Now we're going to use a new set of chords, and with that set of chords, we're going to be able to play. We can play the exact same songs, to be perfectly honest. You're just transposing. But I gave you a different set of songs so that we can work on that. So I need to call, what do I call this thing? Key of C strummers. So let me go grab that. Ukulele. Oh, it's down in storage. That's where I'm going to find it in storage. Download. Ukulele. Okay. It's not there. All right. Where did I put that? In resources. That's where I put it. Resources. H-I-J. Key of C strummers. All right. Now, when we play in the key of C is not that great of a key for baritone, but you're going to play in it a lot because a lot of music is written in the key of C, because on the piano, that's the first key we learn, and so a lot of people end up living their entire lives in the key of C. On ukulele, we're just fine with that. That's our home base. That's your C chord, right? We love that. That's an easy place for us to be. Baritone, unfortunately, you have a much more complicated thing, and so let's talk baritone first. Okay, let's talk about your chord shapes, and you're going to be working on them now for the next week. Okay, they're never going away, and you're never going to like the key of C, but you're going to learn to tolerate it. So your C chord looks like this. Okay, and on it, and ukulele players, that looks like our F chord. And somebody tell me it's time to change strings. Okay, so baritone, your C chord looks like this. Okay, your A minor chord, you're just going to add your ring finger on, and that's your A minor chord. Now, you are obviously much more complicated chord shapes than you have on ukulele. The key here is that some keys are better on baritone and some are better on ukulele, and some keys are terrible on both, right? And so there are a limited number of keys that you will play with most of the time in your life. When you get to meet me and we go through this arpeggio book that I have, we end up doing all of the keys, but that's not typical. Usually most ukulele players will work in half a dozen, maybe 8 different keys total in their entire career. There are 30 keys all together. Most of those you'll never be in unless you go through the entire arpeggio book that I have. But the point I'm trying to make is that for baritone, you're not going to really like these chords, but they're what it is in the key of C. When we get to the key of G, yours are much easier than the ukulele ones. Okay, so key of C, A minor is your next one. Your F chord is a bummer. Okay, what I want you to do is a full bar on one up and down, and then you take your E shape and put it on 2 and 3, just like that. That's what I want you to do. Now, when I was, if that's what you're after, when I was taught, they said just use your index finger and cover these 2 strings, and that's fine. Okay, this is fine. It doesn't help you with your other bar chords, and you've already begun this work of doing a full bar chord anyway, so you might as well just use a full bar chord. That's your shape you're going to be using, and here's the sound you're likely to get when you first start this. Okay. Okay, just let it be that way. Just know it's going to get better. It's just part of this nasty F chord that baritones have to deal with. Ukulele players, you're going to get it soon enough. Yours is called a B flat. Okay, I'm squeezing pretty hard to get all the strings down. Okay, and I'm using a muscle here that I have developed over the years that's pretty strong. Okay, my thumb muscle is in pretty good shape. You probably don't have that yet, and so you're probably going to get some crummy sounds. Don't lose sleep over it. You make these crummy sounds, and then we move on. And then finally, your G chord on baritone is actually really quite nice, right? It's right there. Okay, so your G chord is the ukulele C chord. So if I were to give you a minute to work on this, on baritone, it's C 2 3 4 A minor 2 3 4 F 2 3 4 and C 2 3 4. Okay, so now you spend a minute or two getting those under your belt on baritone. Ukulele players, we have a little bit prettier set of chords that we get to do. Don't fall over. Ours, C chord, A minor is up here with your middle finger, F chord is right here. Okay, it's there. It's the baritone C chord. And then your hard one is the G chord. Index finger. Make sure, this is really easy to accidentally put on upside down, and I need you to do it right. And when we are in class together, I can double check you're doing this right. When we're online here, I do not know if you're doing this right, and I need you to do it right from the beginning. It's going to feel a little awkward. There is another way you can put this on where it feels a whole lot better, and it's not going to work out. Index finger, 3rd string, 2nd fret. Make sure that this is the key. This is the most important one. Get that on first. Then your middle finger on the bottom string, 2nd fret, and ring finger out here. Now I've seen lots of people put this on upside down over the years. About 20 or 30% of my students, truthfully, huge number of students, put it on upside down. And I'm not even going to show you what that is. Just make sure index fingers on the top, middle fingers on the bottom, ring fingers out there. That's your G chord. Okay. Now, because baritones have a different tuning, they get different shapes, and ukulele has a different tuning, and it has its own shapes. So let's practice C, A minor, F, and G. Let's go through it half a dozen times, get where we're feeling pretty comfy about it. And the cool part is when we have ensemble stuff, we play the same exact music. It's just that the baritone shapes are different than the ukulele shapes. If we got a piano, they'd have different shapes. They'd play these same chords. If we had a banjo, they'd have different shapes, and they'd play these same chords. And so these are going to come up. So let's see. I have a few more people who wandered in. Let's see. I may have to give you a thumbs down for your memory. Yeah, give me a thumbs down. I haven't had any thumbs down for a while on these things. You know, Google's probably like, huh, he's making all those people do thumbs up. Mary G made it in. Nancy's in. Strumming on my baritone. Yay, and Nancy. 81, beautiful sunny day in Florida. Nice, perfect. All right, so we're going to do 4 beats of C. 2, 3, 4, then 4 beats of A minor, 2, 3, 4, 4 beats of F, 2, 3, 4, and G, 2, 3, 4, and so I'll work on ukulele first, okay? What I want you to do, I don't want you to strum 4 times, I want you to strum once, and then I want you to get your next chord on, so it's on by the time it's time to hit that one, okay? So let's do it. Ready? Play. C, 2, 3, 4, A minor, 2, 3, 4, and F, 2, 3, 4, and G, 2, 3, 4, and C, 2, 3, 4, and A minor, 2, 3, 4, and F, 2, 3, 4, and G, 2, 3, 4. One more time. C, dum, dum, da 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 dum, 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 da 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 dum, 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 da 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 dum, dum, dum. Finish on C. Da 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 dum. Okay. One of the lessons that I'm trying to impart on you is that we're doing 4 beats per chord, but you're only strumming once, and that's a valuable lesson as you get into more complicated songs. And probably when we get to Waltzing Matilda, when we see a G chord coming and you're on ukulele, you're going to be like, oh god, a G chord's coming. I'm going to stop strumming. I'm going to get that G chord on so I'm ready when it's time to strum that G chord. So just because we're in 4 doesn't mean you have to strum all 4. You see, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, and then you're going to miss it because it's going to take you too long to get your G chord on. So you should have left your F chord early in order to get your G chord on. So whatever chord you're on, you don't fall asleep on it. You're always looking ahead. What's the next chord coming up? When's it coming up? How soon is that going to be? And then gauging your own ability to change chords so that you abandon. This is the moment when I say this. This is very important. Listen. You abandon the chord you're on in whenever necessary to have your next chord on and ready to go on the first beat of when you play that chord. Okay? So it's less important to get all 4 beats of C in, C, 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 than it is to get a beat of C, and then however many beats you need to get your G chord in, okay, or whatever the next chord is. So leave your previous chord in plenty of time to get to the next chord, have it on and ready to go when it's time for the first strum of that. That's sort of a rule to live by. What will happen is as you get more comfortable and more confident in it, I don't have to abandon chords anymore. When I first started, I had to abandon them all the time because I wasn't very fast getting my chords on. But now, obviously, I've been doing this a little bit of time. I can do all 4 beats, C, 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 A minor, 2, 3, 4, and F, 2, 3, 4, and G, 2, 3, 4. So I can get it on in time, but when you're new, you can't. And so you just do, you do 1 strum, and then you count the next few beats, and dum, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. And what's nice is you're going to get away with that a lot more. Your audience or whoever's listening to you, including yourself, will be so much happier with how the song goes if you give up on the previous chord in order to be ready for the next chord. You will feel this sense of power over music that you never that's hard to describe, really, because when you're always late to your chord, you're just like, I'm terrible. It must take talent to do music. It doesn't take talent to do music. It takes planning ahead. And so if you're on this F chord and the next chord is G, man, get rid of that F chord, get your G chord on, get it ready to go, boom, so that it's ready on your next beat. Okay, so that's the life lesson you've learned. Abandon your previous project in order to be ready at the moment the next project's ready to get started. Okay, life lesson. Let's play. Well, let's go around this circle one more time: the C, A minor, F, and G. But I'm going to switch to baritone just for fun. And you guys on ukulele, same chords, baritones. You've already been doing these chords. Let's do 2 beats of each. We're going to do 4 beats of each chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. But we're only going to strum the first 2. Okay. 1, 2, ready, play. C, C, 3, 4, A minor, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, and G, 2, 3, 4, and F, 2, 3, 4, A minor, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, and G, 2, 3, 4, and C, 2, 4, and G, 2, 3, 4. Now let's go see if you can do all 4 beats. Okay, I'm going to slow it down. Maybe try your pluck. Grab these 4 fingers. Grab all 4 strings. Okay, thumb going down, index, middle, and ring coming up. Plunk, 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 plunk. Okay, start on your C chord. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Okay, now we're going to go around the circle. Ready? Go. C, 2, 3, 4, A minor, 2, 3, 4, and F, 2, 3, 4, and G, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, A minor, 2, 3, 4, and F, 2, 3, 4, and G, and then we'll stop. 2, 3, 4, and C. So what we're talking about when we're doing that type of thing is, you probably just found out if you're on baritone, getting your F chord on is brutal, right? Getting all of that on is really hard to do. If you're on ukulele, getting your G chord on is really hard to do. And so you're finding, oh gosh, I'm probably putting those chords on late. Probably. If you're doing it on perfect timing, good for you. You're right, you're all set. But if you are showing up late on the more complicated chords, you need to abandon the previous chord earlier. So that's just a survival technique, and every musician uses it, every single one. Jody asks, you teach fret by fret. Is there any other connection between C, A, F, and G? I explain things well. So, yeah, the connection here is, if we are, yesterday we talked about the key of C major. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, right? So that's fret by fret, note by note. The main connection here between that way of playing and this way of playing is that if you take a look at your chord shapes, let me get on to a ukulele. It'll be clearer. C, D, E. Okay, those are the correct notes. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. If you think about it, when I'm holding a C chord, I'm holding down all of the strings all of the notes I'm playing were in that scale. Okay, if I hold down the A minor, all of the notes I played in that scale are also in this chord. If I hold down an F, all of the notes that I played in that scale are in this chord. And then if I play a G, all of the notes that I played in the scale are here. Now there's a diagram where you take C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. You know, the little chart we saw yesterday. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. If you then take notes and stack them on top of each of those, so if I have a C and I stack every other note, C, E, G, that makes a C chord. And if I had D, if I stack them up, every other note is D, F, A, that's D minor. If when I go to the next one, I start with an E, every other note, E, G, B, that's E minor. The fourth one, F, F, A, C, that's an F chord. When you play an F chord, the notes you're playing are F, A, and C. And I go to a G, it's G, B, D. That's a G chord, and that's what when you're holding here, you're playing a G, and this is a D, and this is also a G, and that's a B, right? So the purpose of the scale is to teach you what notes are in that key, and then we stack up notes on top of those notes, and all of a sudden we get little chords, and those chords are what show up here on your paper. And so so then you're like, all right, so there were 8 notes in that scale we did, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Well, the last one is doubled, right? So if you start with a C note and you stack some stuff on it, you'll get a C chord, and if you go up here and you stack some stuff on it, you also get a C chord. And then I have all these other chords in the middle: C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, and B. It turned out to be B diminished. That hurts your head. Don't think about it yet. And then another C chord. That's where your chords come from, is right straight out of the scale that you played yesterday. Then the question becomes, well, which chords are important? And that's what we will talk about. All right, so Jody had a light bulb. That's exciting. So what we're talking about then, when we had 8 notes, but really only 7 because the last ones are repeated. So we have 7 notes, and we've stacked notes on top of them. Now there are 7 chords. And you see here, we're only going to use 4 of those. Well, which ones did we use and which ones did we not use? In this case, if I put a C chord here, the next one is a D, and it'll be minor in this case, less important. It's just the way our ears work in Western music. Next one is an E minor. Again, it'll show up, but it's less important. The important one is F. The C and the F. 1 and 4 are very important. This one is a 5. That's a G. That's also super important. And then over on this hand, number 6 is a 6 minor. That's your A minor. Very important. So what you find as you're looking at these chords, C, A minor, F, and G, what it is the C chord, then the A minor, then the F, and the G. So 1, 6, 4, 5. And the same thing happens in this book. If I put A here, A, F sharp minor, D, and E. Say 1, 6, 4, 5. So those chords go together, and honestly, I can lose you on this one. It's not that important for you to know the theory yet. There will come a day when you're like, oh, why didn't you tell me that before? Okay, I'm telling it to you now, I'm giving you an initial exposure, and you do not need to know any of this. What you do need to know is how to make a C chord, how to make an A minor, how to make an F, and how to make a G. Okay, that's what I need you to know right at the moment. Just know that all of this stuff goes together mathematically, and we'll talk about that ad nauseum in my classes until one day you're like, well, gosh, I wish you would have explained that to me in the beginning. Okay, circle of fifths was like that for me. I got shown the circle of fifths probably 5 times before one day I'm like, well, how come people don't make you memorize this on day 1? It's that important, okay? So again, don't let yourself get freaked out about the music theory behind this. There is a mathematical basis behind what we're doing, and over time, the parts that you need will come into your head, and you'll be like, oh, okay, I see what he's talking about. Jan says, you've lost me on the explanation. Wish I could understand it. Maybe it will grow on me. I want a light bulb. The light bulb's coming, Jan. Don't worry, okay? I promise. So little light bulbs will come on. Music is all built off of math. The whole thing is math. Everything is built off of the math, okay? And so as we move forward, we'll keep talking. We'll talk about 1, 4, 5 a lot, okay? In this case, we're talking about 1, 4, 5 and 6 minor, okay? Now, you know your chords. Let's start dealing with waltzing Matilda, okay? What I want to do is grab a C chord. I want you to play, we're all playing together, baritone and ukulele, we're all playing this. I like to build this song up piece by piece, and then we'll play it again on Friday, okay? So in the first verse, you're going to play the C's and nothing else. I'm going to play everything else. I want you to play Once a Jolly, then don't play anything. Swagman camp beside a billabong. Then when the C comes, under the shade of a, and then I don't want you to play Coolabah Tree. And he sang as he sat and he waited till his belly boiled. You'll come a waltzing. So I want you to turn it on and turn it off, and I only want you to play a C chord. Okay? I only want you to play the C's. All right? Here we go. From the top. Let me do the intro. The C chords. Once a jolly swagman camped beside a billabong play under the shade of a coolabah tree, and he sang as he sat, and he waited till his billy boiled play. You'll come a waltzing Matilda, play with me. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. And he sang as he sat, and he waited till his belly boiled. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Okay, so you played on the C's and you didn't play on the rest. A couple of important skills there. 1, learning to turn it on and turn it off. 2, accepting the fact as a musician that there's going to be lots of times when you're going to play nothing, okay? And that is what we want to get comfy with. Playing nothing is playing something, right? And I always tell this story. I went to see Wizard of Oz at the Denver Arts Center down here, and they had the Colorado Symphony came and played along, played all the musical numbers. And I remember sitting there watching the third French horn, and he played nothing. He sat there the entire night. The entire night he just sat there reading, looked like he was reading his sheet music. I don't know what he was doing. Probably had a book up on there. And then about almost to the end of the night, there's one big number where all of a sudden he picks up his French horn. He played 8 bars, maybe half the song at best. I don't know, not very much of it. Then put his horn down and sat there the rest of the night. Right, that was his job. He was there to play that small number of measures. It was important that he's there. The rest of the night he didn't play. He got paid, right? He just didn't have to play because he didn't have any parts. Same thing with you. You got to get comfortable with playing nothing in order to get good at playing everything. And so that's what we're working on. Now let's go on. First of all, let's talk very quickly about this song. Once a Jolly Swag Man. You're thinking of a hobo when you think of a swag man. Camp beside a billabong. A billabong is when a river comes down and turns, and there, you know how it kind of makes a pool there by where it makes the turn. This is going to have to be a huge billabong. Okay, the lake, the river is coming down, and a huge lake is formed there. I know it's about to happen in this song, so I know it's a huge billabong. Under the shade of a coolabah tree, and he sang as he sat, and he waited for his billy to boil. Those of you guys that are old like me remember our camping green Coleman camping stove that Dad used to make you lug up the hill. That's the billabong, right? These days REI sells the little gadget that's about this. It costs $350 and weighs 3.7 ounces, and you go and you cook your coffee on the side of a cliff. Going outside isn't what it used to be. Anyway, that's his Billy, and he's dancing around the campfire. Things are going great. He's waltzing, and he is Matilda at the moment, right? He's just dancing around, waiting for his coffee or his beans or whatever to get finished cooking. Now, next, verse 2. You're going to add in. You're going to play C's and A minors. So don't play G's and don't play F's. Just play C's and A minors. Strum as best you can. If the next one coming up is a G, you can strum the whole C section, right? But if it's an A minor, you may need to leave your C in enough time to get your A minor on. So do your C's and your A minors. By the way, there's only 2 A minors, so you'll be fine. All right, here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. Down came a jumbuck to drink beside the billabong. Up jumped the swag man and grabbed him with glee. And he sang as he stowed that jumbuck in his tucker bag. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. And he sang as he stowed that jumbuck in his tucker bag. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Okay? Now, and Jan says, I thought Billy was a tin can thing. Probably is. And he's waiting for his Billy. It's unclear, I think. And he waited till his Billy boiled. So Billy might have been the actual can of beans, right? It could have been his soup. The fascinating thing about this song is when every time I teach it, somebody comes in who's an expert on certain parts of it, right? And they don't like my explanation. I'm perfectly fine with being straightened out on this. But yeah, it probably is. It probably is the tin can, right? It probably is the Billy. He's waiting for it to boil. So could be that it's his dinner. Let's put it that way. Now, you got your C's and your A minors. You sat out on F's and G's, and that's important in learning to turn it on and turn it off, not play your parts, do play your parts, that sort of thing. Now, down came a jumbuck. Let's call it a little billy goat. There's acres of discussion about what a jumbuck is. It's got to be an animal you can own. I used to make a joke. I'd say, what's a jumbuck? And everybody in the room would be real quiet. And I'd say, this is from Australia, you guys. And immediately somebody would say kangaroo, right? So down came a jumbuck. It's got to be a little animal you can hold, maybe a tiny sheep, a little goat, something like that. To drink beside the billabong, up jumped the swag man and grabbed him with glee. And he sang as he stowed the jumbuck in his tucker bag. So he grabs this animal and stuffs it in a bag. And then now the waltzing, you picture him sort of wrestling around with this jumbuck, and that's the scene going on. Okay, you as a musician don't really care about that. You're caring about, oh God, in verse 3 he's going to add in another chord, and that's exactly what's going to happen. So verse 3, I want you to play all the C's. I want you to play all the A minors. I want you to play all the Fs. I don't want you to play any Gs. Now baritone players just got sad, right? Because they're like, oh boy, we are in trouble. Okay, we're in trouble. I'm going to actually play baritone. Okay. What will happen is my overall sound quality is going to drop and be a little bit lower, but we're still on the same chords. It's just my shapes are different than yours. If you're on ukulele, we'll sound amazing together. Okay, don't be thrown by the fact that the overall sonority of this instrument drops a little bit. It's going to still sound amazing. Okay, verse 3, you're going to play all of your C chords. You're going to play all of your A minor chords. You're going to play all of your F chords, and you're going to play none of your G chords. All right, here we go. From the top, verse 3. 1, 2, ready, play. Up came the squatter, mounted on his thoroughbred. Down came the troopers, 1, 2, 3, saying, where's that jolly jumbuck you've got inside your tucker bag? You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Saying, where's that jolly jumbuck you've got inside your tucker bag? You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Okay, I was switching from ukulele brain to baritone brain just a little bit, so I was a little slow on some of the chords. Maybe you're doing a little bit slow on some of the chords too, right? It's normal. And again, don't strum everything, right? Up came the squatter, mounted on his thoroughbred. Down. If you just strum once, it gives you time to get your next chord on. Just a survival skill. I'm not recommending it, but it is something you can do for real. So you've gotten comfy with playing C, got comfy with A minor, got comfy with F, and now obviously in verse 4 we're going to add in your G chord, and baritone players are like, well, that's not a problem. Ukulele players are like, oh, that's going to be a problem. Okay, so let's talk about verse 3. Up came the squatter. The squatter in America, that we call that just a leaseholder, is somebody who does not own the land, but farms it, and in this case ranches it apparently. Up came the squatter, mounted on his thoroughbred. And thoroughbred, those of you who don't know horses, that's the good one. That's the good horse, right? That's the horse you don't own. Okay, thoroughbred's the expensive horse. They're nice, right? And so we know this guy has money, and when he's got money, guess what? Who's also in his pocket? Down came the troopers. He's got the police right there with him. 1, 2, 3. Dumbest line in music, I think. Where's that jolly jumbuck you've got inside your tucker bag? Well, guys, it's in the tucker bag. So it doesn't make the troopers look too smart here. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Now, the waltz here is obviously the cops and the swag man, or, picture a cartoon where they're sort of zipping around and smoke's coming out. That's what's going on there. Quite a waltz going on at that moment. Now, verse 4, things are going to get super sad, okay? So I don't want you to be super sad. I want you to stay focused in on getting your chords done, and then we'll go through and we'll debrief the sadness that's about to happen. In verse 4, you're going to play all your C chords. You're going to play all your A minors. You're going to play all your Fs. You're going to get on your Gs. And you're going to go back. Okay? Here we go. Oh, by the way, when we get to the end of verse 4, we're not going to stop. We're going to do the big finish. When you get to the big finish, I want to ask you, this is something ukulele players are never comfortable with. I want you to play loud. I want you to play loud when we get to the big finish. I won't play super loud because it freaks out the microphones, but play a little bit louder when you get to the big finish. And then we do have to learn how to do a tremolo at the very end of this song. So when we get to the very end and it says, waltzing Matilda with me, you're going to take, here's how you do a tremolo. You take your open palm and you bend down your index finger. Okay? That's what you're going to be doing. Okay? And then you're going to go down with the finger down, okay? It's going to mostly be facing the ground. And then you're going to come up with the pad of your index finger. And you're going to go back and forth. And notice I'm not doing this from my elbow. I'm doing it from my wrist. that. That's the tremolo. Okay. And again, you're probably going to be strumming right here about here where your body and the neck of the ukulele come together. When you go to a ukulele strum along, at least the one that we have here in town, almost every song goes, at the end of the song, everybody goes. Because it's fun, right? It's fun to do that. They used to. I don't know if they still do that. We used to do it all the time. Okay, that's your tremolo. We're going to add in one cool thing. We're going to add in the Eddie Van Halen finish. Okay, tremolo, hand up, and then everybody take all four fingers and bring them down. Right? So it's going to. So at the end, it's going to be waltzing Matilda with me. That's blong. That's bringing it down. I love teaching the Eddie Van Halen finish when I have a lot of little, 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old boys in there, because the boys will go, bam, really hard, and they hit their knuckles on the top of the fretboard, and you can see a lot of them go, ow. That's one of the few pleasures that I get, guilty pleasures that I have as a ukulele teacher. All right, verse 4 to the end. Remember, play a little louder when we get to the big finish. Remember, when you get to your tremolo, you do that Eddie Van Halen finish, and then finally, if you miss a chord, you miss a chord. Let it go. Move on. If you can't get the G chord on, you can't get your F chord on, and you can't get whatever chord on, skip it. Just let it go and move on to the next one. Don't obsess over getting your chords on. You got to get where you can just move on. That's one of the hardest things to learn. It's one of the best things about taking these classes on YouTube is I keep going. I don't even know you're struggling, right? You are going to have to just let mistakes go. Let things that aren't going well, just put them in the past. Our art form is linear. It only goes one direction, right? It's in time. Everything that happens right now is what's happening right now. Every single thing else is in the past, and you gotta let it go. You see me make tons and tons of mistakes when I'm teaching class. I don't mean to. I'm not trying to, right? They happen. I haven't lost any sleep over them yet because it's over and done with. It's in the history. It's just how I played it at that given time, and we keep moving forward. Okay, so verse 4 through the big finish. Grab your C chords, every chord you can, and see what we do. 1, 2, ready, play. Up jumped the swag man, he sprang into the billabong. You'll never catch me alive. Splash, and his ghost may be heard as you pass along that billabong. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. And his ghost may be heard as you pass along that billabong. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Play loud. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. And his ghost may be heard as you pass along that billabong. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Very exciting ending. How the song ends, the swag man jumps up and springs into the billabong, and you'll never catch me alive, he yells as he splashes into the billabong. And now when you go by the billabong, his ghost may be heard as you pass along that billabong. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. So at the end of the song, the waltz is actually the ghost of our poor swag man dancing around. I used to have this serious discussion in class when we'd meet face to face. I'd say, well, why would the swag man do that? And there was always all these different sort of thoughts. And then I remember one time a guy, he's about my age, he goes, I says, well, why do you think that seems like a bit of an overreaction on when you're only stolen a goat? And the guy goes, well, his rap sheet was really long. So we have to assume that there's more to the swag. There's more backstory to the swag man than we have discovered to date, and so there's that. And so now here's the takeaway today, guys. How's your C chord? How's your A minor? How's your F? And how's your G? Okay, that's the real takeaway. The other two takeaways are: stop strumming your current chord in plenty of time to get your next chord on it. Have your next chord ready to go when it's time to strum that first beat of it. So that's actually a life lesson, right? Quit doing what you're doing now in order to be ready for the next thing that's coming. And then the other life lesson is you gotta let mistakes go. You really do. You really, in music, it's probably because we are a one-dimensional art form. We only exist in time. There's no height, width, or what's the other one? Height, width, width, depth. There's no depth, right? There's just time. And so whatever music that you are making now in the future is going to be beautiful. You can imagine what that might be, but it hasn't happened yet. It's the only music you're making right now. Whatever happens right now is what happens, and everything else is in the past, and you really got to let the past go. I think for the most part, I think that's why people have a tendency to take a few music lessons and quit, is they just have not been able to talk themselves into letting mistakes be mistakes. It's really, really challenging, and it is something you want to work on. If you're going back and fixing everything all of the time, that's not and there is nobody, no music teacher anywhere that'd be like, yeah, that's a good idea. Play through what you play through, find your mistakes, and then when you're all set, then you go back and study those specific areas where you need to, like on this song, getting your G chord on, if you're on ukulele, getting your G chord on. Down came the troopers, 1, 2, 3, right? Down came the troopers, 1, 2, 3. Getting that G chord on there in time might be challenging, and so you work on that. Or if you're on baritone, getting your F chord on is really challenging, and just getting a decent, getting from there to there is going to take a little bit of work, and so you work on that specific tool. Linda, good morning, Linda. Still healing from my wrist fracture. As we get older, it takes long. Yeah, right. I know. That's why, guys, you gotta be careful if you're getting to a certain place in your life that you don't, falling down can be devastating. So stay upright, people. All right, there's a life lesson. Don't fall down. Couple other songs on the paper, and I'm going to let you guys go. Remember, you've got Drunken Sailor, D minor and C. Okay, D minor is also in the key of C, which is what we learned yesterday with the notes in the key of C. On the next page, Kookaburra, I'm going to give you one verse. Kookaburra sits in the old gum tree, merry, merry king of the bushes he. Laugh, Kookaburra, laugh, Kookaburra, gay your life must be. Okay, we'll play that one on Friday for sure. Also on here, this little light of mine is down at the bottom of page 2. You Are My Sunshine is on the top of page 2. And then you also have Danny Boy on there. Now, all three of those songs are in this book, but now you're using different chords. Okay, what you'll find is you can play them out of this book, or you can play them out of here. One's going to fit your voice better. And some of you guys are like, you know what, I'm never going to sing. You're probably right. You're probably never going to sing. But you are going to be in situations where singing might be a little bit helpful. When you're trying to learn a new song and you're like, oh, Gary's got all these lyrics on here. Maybe I'll use those to help kind of guide my playing a little bit. Lyrics are super helpful when you're learning to play. Frankly, they're super helpful anytime you're working on a song. And so while I'm a terrible singer, I still do a little bit of it just to help me know where I am at in the song. So we spent a long time on getting you up to speed on this. This class today would have been the class you took in Hawaii when they say, hey, come down to the lobby and take a ukulele class. They give you F, C, F, and G7, and then they have you just sing 3 or 4 or 10 songs, whatever you can get through. And then their goal is that then after that you'll be like, oh, I love the ukulele, it's super easy. And then they take you over to the gift shop where they have ukuleles for sale. So that's what the class you would have taken in Hawaii. And honestly, if you take most ukulele classes, even online or in your local area there. That's where most ukulele teachers start with it. I don't start there because it's not the right place to start. Getting you playing melody is the right place to start. And then I don't do the key of C for a little while because it's actually getting G chord on is really, really challenging. And if you are on baritone, you got to get your F chord on, and both of those are a bummer. Whereas if we work in the key of A first, you learn how to work your chords better, and then when we get to C, it's just a new thing, right? It's not nearly as challenging. So that's why we do what we do, and that's why we're moving forward. And tomorrow is a big day. Beyond time tomorrow. Tomorrow we tackle My Spaghetti Monster. It will be the single outside of Frere Jacques, which is the most important song we learn. Tomorrow's lesson will be the springboard into fingerstyle ukulele, into chord melody ukulele, into tough uke. Tomorrow is when we start taking the chords that we've learned and the melody that you now know how to play a little bit, and we're going to put it all together and turn it into songs. Tomorrow's song you will get will make you sound amazing, and you're going to be like, okay, now I understand why I'm working so hard. So be on time tomorrow, and we'll get My Spaghetti Monster under your belt, and we will continue our journey through all of these chords, all of this finger plucking, all the chords, all the different styles. I'll get every single tool that you need to survive higher end ukulele playing, and give you a way to play that you can play for the rest of your life, and you will never ever get bored of this instrument. And so that's where we're headed. Hope you guys had a good day. I will see some of you next hour. We're playing El Paso. Some of you may remember Marty Robbins. He ends up dead at the end of the song. And then we have a new arpeggio over there. You guys haven't studied arpeggios yet, so that'll be kind of a brain drain if you come sit in on that. But Marty Robbins piece, you ought to take it and go get it. Go listen to Marty Robbins sing it on YouTube. It's amazing. So have a wonderful afternoon. Good to see all of you guys here. Again, I tell people all the time, the only way to fail is to stop showing up, right? And life happens. I get that. But if you keep showing up, you're going to end up to being a great ukulele player. So just keep showing up and doing what you can. And those little light bulbs Jan and Jody were talking about, they're gonna blink, 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 blink. They don't happen all at once. They don't happen on the same day, but they will happen. And pretty soon you'll know everything, and all the light bulbs will be on, and we'll get you there. Okay. Have a wonderful afternoon, Jody. Jody says I'm funny. Maybe funny looking. Jan, thanks for the lesson. Have to jump on the Zoom call. I'll see you later, Jan. Have a great day. I know all these Zoom things we have to do, huh? Rob, thanks. I forgive you on your memory. You ever do that, Rob? What Rob's saying is he forgets when he goes in. You go into a room and you're like, why did I come in here? I don't think you have to be old. I've been doing that since I was 20. Like, you walk in and you're like, I was going to do something. What was I going to do? Yeah, that's funny. Funny, Rob. Good job. Mary, thanks. I'll see you soon. All right. And Linda, thanks. See you in a few minutes. Yeah, sounds good. All right, guys. I'm off to Next Level Ukulele. Come hang out. It'll be fun. And I will see all of you. If you don't there, I will see you tomorrow. Have a great afternoon.